favorite scary movie.
Girls, watch out for those weirdos.
We are the weirdos, mister.
So 1996 was a pretty crazy year for one Nev Campbell. Not only was she in Scream, which I think this is like the third or fourth time I brought up Scream in this series this month, but she was also in a little movie called The Craft. And this is, for a lot of people, this is the witch movie. This is like this or Hocus Pocus and like no in between. It tells a story of a group of girls who are going to a Catholic high school. Are they come from difficult backgrounds for one reason or another, but then they begin to they begin to exhibit powers of their own, and the powers go immediately to their heads. But Jacob Collins, you a big fan of witches?
No,
All right, fair enough. But
I think it's all horseshit.
no, well, fair enough. But I thought this movie was pretty good until the ending. This movie weirdly kind of reminded me of the movie Chronicle, the Josh Trank film, where it's about the sort of teenagers that get superpowers and then they use them for like what we would do if we got superpowers, then they regret it, and then one of them, the powers just go immediately to their head, and then they just do really bad things. I don't know, I
You,
could be completely shooting from the
you know
hip.
what I like about this movie though?
Yeah.
It has a great soundtrack. One thing,
I mean,
like
it's the mid 90s. That time just rocked for music.
yeah, I mean, it has a great soundtrack, and also like for instance, there is it this movie inspired Charmed, the TV series, and
Makes a lot of sense.
there's even the song "How Soon Is Now," which is in the movie, is the opening credits song for Charmed, which is crazy. It's like which this movie was heavily inspired by, in which this movie has a great cast. Sora Bulk, who would go like literally go like do the Water Boy, and who was just a fantastic actress to begin with. And I like like honestly the lead one, Robin Tooney, whatever. She's so good. We really she doesn't have like I've not seen her career skyrocket like Neve Campbell, who is a supporting character in this movie, who doesn't have she's not the lead like by any means, but like she is a supporting character in this movie. Same and but she does like but the main actress, I just can't believe that she's not that she is not like that has not done a lot of mainstream Hollywood work. Like mostly, I think the last thing I seen her in was End of Days with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'm looking at her letterbox now. That is one, The Craft is her most notable thing. Then End of Days is not far behind. It's interesting.
That probably killed her career. She was like, "I'm a big movie actor. You should do this Arnold movie." And then she did that and goes, "Shit, I chose."
You got Arnold in the late 90s, early 2000s, which was like
He
career
chose. What's the
scream
meme?
to the mountainside.
What was that meme though from Indiana Jones? He chose.
Poorly.
like,
But
like, I mean, really, I mean, to be fair, I think everything before Batman and Robin was good for Arnold, but then everything after Batman, I'm not called post Batman and Robin syndrome. He just chose like it was like The Price is Right. Go, dude. And I think with this movie, I think it has also there's a Scream reunion in this movie because you have Neb Campbell and Skeet Ulrich.
yeah, that's right. You got
He's the main lead, Melvin.
yeah, you I was actually going to bring that up. You beat me to it, but yes, Sidney Prescott and Billy Loomis are in this same movie together. Like, I swear, like, I wonder if they laugh about that. Like, we were both in Scream and The Craft in the same year. One of them took off, and the other one is still around
It's a
somewhat.
cult classic. Let's just say that.
Pretty much, yeah. But I mean, Scream is Scream, and The Craft is like a little more obscure. I'll just leave it at that. But to put the, just to make sure, like, just to get this point across, the movie leading up to the ending is pretty good. It's enjoyable. Good soundtrack, like Jacob mentioned. There's a pretty gnarly scene in which they do this ritual on a beach, and then it just washes up a whole bunch of dolphins, which is just a crazy visual. And then the ending happens, and the ending is why I do give this a modest recommendation. It's basically where, at the point where the witches turn on each other, and it just basically turns into a big battle. And I enjoyed this battle quite a bit. Like the ending gives it the recommendation for me.
I will say that I really enjoy about this movie is I like how it starts out where she's like, oh, a popular girl, and then the boy spreads a nasty rumor about her, a guy who's really like a gentleman spreads a nasty rumor about her, and then basically she because and they try to warn her because they see her doing stuff and they're like, she's one of us, and then they try to warn her, and then of course it turns out they were right, and then she hangs out with them, of course, and to which I'm just thinking to me, every time I watch that movie, I know I'm sound horrible saying this, but I'm like, why would you spread a rumor about her when she literally was like 2 days from putting out? Why the would you spread that rumor about her when literally I get it after she slept with you saying it, but like you waited till like you it's like it's literally like you're at the field goal and then you decide to give up the field goal. I mean, seriously, that's stupid. It's like watching a football play where the guy's about to do a field goal kick, and instead of doing a field goal kick, he's like, I'm gonna try to get another touchdown. And it's like
Yeah,
you're stupid.
he tries to do the hook and ladder or something to that effect.
Yeah, it's so dumb. And I'm just thinking, I honestly was like, that's the dumbest thing. I do like how they do like the spell, and he becomes like a whipped dog, and he's just like following him around and stalking her in the bushes. Like, the dad's like, "Can I help you?" He goes, "I don't know. I don't know if anyone can." And then when it does get creepy when he tries to assault her, sexually assault her, but
I mean, yeah, I mean that does not age well, but I mean it's 96. It's
yeah.
over.
And then
It's
like she
almost 30
then they
years ago.
kill him. Like
Yeah.
she literally just like uses her powers. Like I like how she I like how like one like because they all have issues. Like one girl is like she being bullied by Ben Stiller's wife, who is like a racist in this movie. Like she's
Oh
like a
yeah.
popular girl that bullies her. I think more or less it's because she's a bully. It's not trying to be racist. I
Yeah.
think it's just because that character happens to be black. They're just like, oh well, that's more of a punching bag for that character. But and then of course you have the Fazor Bulk has a abusive stepfather that's a drunk, and then you have Nev Campbell who has like a disease, skin disease or whatever. And then and so I think like and then whenever their spells work out, like Nev Campbell has her skin disease gone, and then the bully becomes bald. The bully becomes bald, and then the abusive stepfather gets killed, has a heart attack, whatever, and then they get rich, and then they're like, yeah, he's like, which I was like, you could tell that's magic because I doubt a truck like that.
Yeah.
That's a expensive
All
ass
for
bicycle.
750 grand, no less.
I'm just like, wow. Yeah, it's like that's a far reach right there. It's like, it's like, but I thought that was funny. And I like how like they're like light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff. I like that. And also like, because the witches, like they're basically like the lead witch is the Zorbalk, and she literally is like just wants to like just like, hey, we're like we could do whatever we want. We can use our powers for whatever we want. And when she kills that boy, that's when it's going too far. And then she tries to like just attack the witch and like make her think her parents were killed, and just really gaslights her a lot, and it's where eventually they end up having to fight each other, and then Fezor Bulk ends up in a mental institution at the end, which I
Yeah.
thought was
That
which
was pretty crazy. Like she's like, I'm flying, and she's like tied to a bed. I'm just like, wow, that is really dark. So and there is a sequel sorta to this called The
don't
Craft.
don't even mention that garbage movie.
Oh, it's not good.
It was made direct to video.
Oh, well, that tells you all you need to know right there. But
It's literally like they tried to remake it, but make it more. It's literally the same story, but they just like changed a few elements and everything, and it makes no sense. And oh no, like the first half of the movie is a remake of the movie. Then that becomes like an episode of the X Files or something because you have David Duchovny in the show, and he's basically uh it's basically what movie it reminds me of. Remember Silent Night, or not Silent Night, but Black Christmas 2019?
oh God, don't remind me.
Imagine that, but with male witches, like the female witches versus the male witches, or imagine that, like
Well,
warlocks versus.
I imagine one day when I do a Scary Mania on sequels and remakes, that's going to be coming up. But to put the period on the end of the sentence for The Craft, feels like this is one of those movies where you either don't know it exists or you know it exists and you love it. Though I give it a modest recommendation because the ending is actually pretty great. So
Yeah, if
stick
you
with the movie
watch
for me.
want Agatha All Along, the show Agatha All Along on Disney Plus, when they're show at the end the credits, they show all the witches throughout the years of, and they show that scene from The Craft of Azora Bulk shaking her head, going like this, and her feet dragging. They show that scene in the credits for Agatha All Along because it's so iconic. That movie's so iconic that it's part. Like they showed that, but they don't show anything from Charmed.
Interesting. But I pass it off
Or
to all of you. What'd you think of The Craft? Let us know in the comments. And as far as tomorrow goes, Jacob's going to be sticking around for a little bit because I just got a note and all it said was, "I know what you did last summer." I'm sure we'll figure out what that is tomorrow.